Hi, Gail Ryan from Ryfab. We're going to give you instructions on how to install the windshield on the folding and vented windshield on the Polaris General. First of all, as tools, you need a 1/2-inch socket and preferably a 3/8 drive because it goes in a tight area. 1/2-inch wrench will help. 15 millimeter socket, 15 miller wrench, screwdriver, something like it, even the Allen wrench will work. A T20 Torx head driver, and then a 1/4-inch Allen wrench. I'm using a 1/4-inch drive, socket drive, which is handy but don't have to have it, and a 7/16 drill bit to start with, and a drill to start with as far as tools. Next process is remove the roof if you have the Polaris roof. Undo these 2 Torx screws, take them all the way out. The bracket on the inside may fall and catch you. Remove the roof. After you remove the bracket, then just pop the roof up, push it forward. It's helpful to have another person help you lift these things off. They're kind of heavy and awkward. Next step is to drill the 4 holes out on the top, right below the cage. There's a bracket with 2 holes. You need to drill them out. I'm drilling them out to 7/16. Be careful, they will catch and pull. This is your upper mounting bracket for the windshield. We're going to mark them right and left. This is right is for passenger. First of all, you'll take the stainless steel 1/4-inch Allen head socket screw, put the washer on it, run it through the bracket like that, and then put the bolt nut on it, and then wait on the rest of that until you get the windshield done. Then you'll tighten them up. Then the rubber grommet will go over that after you've got it all done. And we'll step through this again, but it'll go over that and the T-nut. That's what holds the windshield in the up position. And so then you'll take the 2 carriage bolts, this small plate, 2 washers and nuts. These will go through this plate like that, and then from the inside or the outside of the windshield through to this bracket. So we're going to pop these in there, and then this bracket's going to go on them 2. Washer, and then at this point you want to be able, you can snug them up, but you still want to be able to move this up and down. And that's the reason this is loose, because you can move it back and forth to line up the windshield. So you'll get a short piece of rubber steel, and it may come in 2 pieces or 1 section. You need to cut it and anchor it or mount it on the bottom of this. There's a little lip on this to help lock it on. I prefer that on the inside. And I'm just wrapping it around that, just to get a length, and just shy of that, about a 1/2 inch. I'll cut it off. You can use scissors or dikes to cut that. I always like to pull this little metal piece out of the end of that, if there is one. So just about a 1/2 inch short of that, and wrap it around that like that. That's the bottom mounting bracket for the windshield. And then you'll get 2 replacement metric bolts for the cage. So we'll go over here, remove these 2 bolts first. Take a piece of bubble wrap and stuff down behind that in that cage, and that'll hold the 2 nuts in there so you don't have to worry about them. So I can remove them and not have to worry about those nuts staying there and my hand's getting in there. So if this pulls off, I think you can just lock it on there it'll eventually form to it. Don't use impact tools on our bolts because we powder coated these and it'll knock the powder coat off of them. Just work each one of them back and forth, snug them up. You don't want them really tight yet because you want to line these two brackets each side up with a straight edge, top and face. Repeat that same step on the opposite side for both the brackets. At that point you can pull that bubble wrap out and everything's good to go. Now we're going to go over the hood mounting brackets for the windshield when it's in a down position. These are the parts you'll have. This goes inside the fender, outside the fender, and then this goes behind this on the fender like this. And all of this is by hand and feel. You can't see it, so it takes a little bit of patience, but you can do it. You'll get 2 Allen screws. They're about 1.25 inches long with a washer. 2 of them, and then so I'll start with going over here and pulling the, if you reach under the fender and pull this little bend out, you'll discard that, you won't need it. Then we'll take, so you got the arrow that's pointing up, and the nut that's welded on this bracket goes towards the back. So that kind of helps you orient it. You just reach under the hood with that part and kind of hold it in that position. And take this plate, lock it in the bottom there, and kind of line up your hole. Don't let go of that back there. Then take the L-shaped bracket and run it through the 3 of them. I was hoping I could turn it by hand, but I couldn't. If you can't turn it like that with your hand though, let's cross thread to make sure we don't do that. Once you got that, then you want to do the other bracket. The other nut, bolt, and washer. This is the fun one. You gotta hold that nut or that bracket up underneath there and line it up with that hole. Flashlight or something maybe to help you see it. Like I say, this is the fun one. Okay, you take the triangle piece with the nut welded to the back. Nut goes down, it goes up in between the frame, and then this bolt, 5/16, the big washer and a small washer, go down through the bracket and into that. At that point you can tighten this one up. It won't need to move. Okay, we'll repeat the other side and then we'll come back to you. So we use these two stainless steel pins, nut top and bottom, and then just hand tight again because you got to adjust it back for the windshield. Do the same on the opposite side. Okay, you're going to get two pieces of rubber like this, and then again I'm using that little notch on the inside of the windshield. Keeps this closer to the outside. This one's about 82 inches long. You'll need to trim it and then just slip it all the way around on that thing. I'm sorry we've had this one on there, so it's going to be easier than what you're seeing, going to be experiencing. Like I say, this has been on, it's been trimmed. Then you have a bottom piece that will be about 4 feet long. We're notching it out a little bit here so when it overlaps the bracket, it doesn't interfere there. It's kind of like that. Get that as tight as you can on there. In those grooves, it'll fit on the windshield better. Like I say, sorry, we've had this one on there, so it's going to be easier than what you experience, but you work with it a little bit, it'll go. Okay, now we're going to throw a wiper on it for you. Okay, so the non-threads are on the inside. One nut, washer, slide it through the inside of the windshield out. Tighten this up and use two crescent wrenches. Just be really careful you don't scar your windshield when you're tightening. Just like that. Run the handle through the inside to the out, and then this little nut, it has a little lip on it, goes on first.
Lip side in.
Lip side in, and we like to use just a little bit of Loctite, which is sitting in my hand. You can get this at any hardware store, parts store. Just a little dab like that on that. Hold them threads. Don't turn it with that. Use your hand on the back side, or don't let it ratchet on them splines. Good and tight on that, and then a little more Loctite. Use it on the nut. And then we're using a 3/8 Allen or wrench, end wrench. Jam them two together. Then taking the wiper, and you gotta line those two up. I like to just start right on that edge and flip it down so I get this little lip, this little clip that holds it on. You don't want to bend them. So it flips like that and then goes on. Shoot. Nope. See if I can do it that way. It'll just come to where it just clips on there. I am a little bit off, but no real harm. So this windshield requires a 10-inch blade, which we're using a Napa. I'm adjusting it so it just barely misses the bottom, and then I'll just tighten that back up, maybe a 1/4 inch, lock that back down. Did use a Velcro strap. Should have a bolt in it already, and then I like the Velcro down so it rolls like that. That kind of holds it with the wind. Goes through this hole. Nut on the inside. Using an Allen wrench for the outside and a 7/16 for the inside. That just to sit just like that. So now I'll just hold it and tighten it on the back side. Then that'll hold your wiper up when you're not using it. So you'll have 2 sliders on this windshield, and this bracket's going to come bolted on already. And then we're holding this together. It's assembled like that. So we run this Allen screw through there with the nylon washer through that bracket just like that, and then the lock nut on the inside of that. And then you want to just snug them up to where they'll slide.
Snug it up to where it bottoms out just a little bit, and then back it off just a little bit. That way it moves easily.
So we've got 2 carriage bolts, 5/16 again, about 1 inch long, 2 flat black washers, and 2 black nylon lock nuts. If you take 2 guys to help you kind of set this in, because this hinge has to go on the inside and that bracket, and you need to bolt them together at the same time.
I put my flap on the inside.
It's supposed to, oh,
Sorry.
no problem. So I'm holding that bracket for the slider in place. Run the bolt through, washer on top of that, and the nut. Kind of at this point you can slide this back and forth a little bit, but you just want to kind of center it up. We're just adjusting these. They're still loose, but the bolt's in it now. So you got your height this way and the bolt runs back and forth, so it's sitting there. Now we're going to go down and tighten these 4 bolts, 2 on each side. So we've tightened these down, and now we're going to go back and tighten the cage up. I like to just work back and forth. Seems to snug them down. So we're tightening this Allen wrench, or Allen screw now. I'm trying to keep it in position. And now you'll tighten this bracket up, these two bolts. We just center this bolt on the outside in that slot the best you can, and then tighten these two up. We're going to install these two rubber grommets on the top bolts. So the big hole on first, you just fold the windshield down, slip that on there, both sides. You put that on. And then if you just push that, it will seat it down. You're going to tighten this bottom bracket stuff. So you want to line these two pins up. So I'm going to tap that back just a little bit so it centers. This whole bracket will slide back, and then this pin will go back and forth there.
We'll tighten these up first.
I have to get them in line. I gotta have that. It's time to go back and tighten these up. Those don't have to be extremely tight, but you don't want them to move too. You'll repeat that on that side. Just lift that off your windshield a little bit so that wrench goes in there, and then tighten them up. I like the hole running parallel to the windshield so that you can run the pin in it. Then you'll take the rubber grommet and put it on there, same thing. Put the windshield down, pop that down, and then the cotter pin goes in it. Loosen it back up. I think that'll do it. So we used a cutting wheel on this grinder. You can use a die grinder with a cutting wheel and stuff like that, whatever you can. And then we just cut it right at this edge, all the way across and right down this groove. And then just install that rubber seal on it. That's basically installed to this point. Now with the plastic roof, you have to trim it so the windshield will fold up and down, and we give you a rubber seal with that. We'll show you this. We've trimmed it off about an inch all the way across right at the band line, and then taken this D-shaped rubber, which will come in each windshield, and clipped it on there, and that'll seal it up to your visor again. then just reinstall your bracket on the back, and that gives it to you there. We'll set this in the up position. Team that on there, just snug it right down. First time it's going to be a little tougher because it's seating that rubber seal. With that point, then it's easy to go on in, up and down. Thank you.